Women in professional sports have never been paid the same as men. This is a topic I have been passionate about and have done extensive research on. It is time to start addressing female athletes on their performance and their skill rather than their appearance and personal life, and most importantly, it is time to equal their pay. Today I will talk about sexism in the media, economic differences between men and women, and how we should fix this issue. So commentary in professional sports is pretty bad. It's generally pretty sexist and can be very racist pertaining to the sport. Dr. Cynthia Frisbee is a professor at the University of Missouri, and she researched sexist and racist microaggressions that female athletes face. Dr. Frisbee broke up her research into 7 different categories: sexual objectification, second-class citizen, restrictive gender roles, sexist and racist jokes, focus on traditional female appearance, focus on physical body and shape, and use of racial slurs and insults. Women deserve equal media coverage. In an article written by Anyi Chang and Megan Lee for The Oracle, they reported that in a 2015 study conducted by YouGov, an international market research company, found that 38% of Americans believe that men's sports have greater tradition than women's, and that 23% felt that women's sports have lower quality play. Now we'll talk about gender-bland sexism. This means that the language and unexcitable framing surrounding women's sports leads to the idea that men's athletics performances are more exciting to watch. This then leads to the pay gaps that women and men receive when tied to professional athletics. So basically, it's just boring commentary for women's sports and super exciting commentary for men's, shouting, screaming, rooting for them, and for women's it's just general explanation. My second main point then leads to the economic difference between female athletics and male athletics. According to Kate Wheeling, the author of The Covert Sexism of Sports News for the Pacific Standard, it is explained that women's sports raise lower ticket sales and have lower ratings when in fact it's actually the media that is adding to the issue. So they try to explain that men's sports get more media coverage because of their higher ticket sales, their higher marketing, apparel sales, all of that, but it ties back to media again because media doesn't give the same coverage to women's sports, so then their ticket sales are lower, their apparel sales are lower, and it all ties together. Wheeling states that women's sports are inherently less exciting, but you wouldn't know that by listening to the sportscasters who cover them, which again are generally men because it is such a male-dominated field, which is why I'm going into sports marketing to hopefully change that. And then I will be showing you a almost 3-minute video, and in the video I'll be showing you Diana Matheson. She's on Canada's women's soccer team, and she talks about her economic struggles as a female athlete, and then that will lead again into more media coverage. Kate Wheeling stated that in 2014, SportsCenter's segments about men's sports were roughly twice as long as those to women's sports, so they were getting way more coverage than women's sports. Additionally, 1/3 of the segments about men's sports featured interviews with players, coaches, and other sports figures. None of the segments on women's sports included interviews with such personnel. So women's sports don't get as much exciting graphics and excitement and, again, interviews with the players to reward them for their work, talk about the game, but men's sports, again, does, which is another whole issue. My third main point is how we should fix this issue, and I believe fixing this issue starts with leveling the media playing field and how we talk about women's sports, how we talk about female athletes, and we should start, or commentators need to start qualifying women on their athletic ability and not their hair color, their body shape, their family life, if they've had children, took time off for children, any of that. We need to level the playing field on sports news networks as well, such as ESPN and SportsCenter, giving equal coverage to women's sports as well as men's. The Olympics is obviously one of the biggest sports platforms, and leveling commentary and coverage there would really make a huge difference. The Olympics commentary is one of the #1 offenders for inappropriate commentary in regards to women's athletics. This all leads again back to ticket sales. Once women are given the appropriate attention that they deserve for the sports and athletics that they are performing, then their ticket sales will raise, and they'll get more media coverage, and then it should hopefully level the playing field, which Diana Matheson of the Canada's women's soccer team also talks about, that they are coming closer and closer every day to closing that wage gap, but they still have so far to go. Today I talked about sexism in the media, economic difference between men and women, and how we should fix that issue. I hope that this gave you something to think about today. The wage gap is real, and professional athletics is just one place that it touches.